for K. Thanks for clicking for me. And if you like what you see, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And also make sure that you follow me on all of my other social media pages. And I've been hearing that there's something new called like hyping me up or something like that you could do. But basically, you get a certain amount and you should use one on me. If you want to, it's up to you. But y'all, it's Vlogtober. I'm a little bit late getting started for Vlogtober because it's October 3rd. But you know, I'm fully prepared this October. I tried a little bit last October, but I wasn't consistent from the start. This time I have a lot of different ideas. If y'all have any ideas of things that y'all would like to see, or if you like videos like this, let me know down below, because I'm gonna need all of the motivation to keep me going. And I want to, because I'm really ready to grow this page and grow this community so we can be besties or whatever. So anyway, as you can tell by the title of this video, we're about to get into these TikTok scary story times, and I'm scared. But I actually have a new setup. I'm in my suite, and I bought a vanity mirror, so the lighting and everything is a little bit different. Let me know how you like it, but let's get into it.
When my now husband and I were newly engaged, we went on Craigslist to find roommates because we were young, poor, and still in school, and we needed a little bit of extra help when paying for rent. We came across another couple, and we thought it'd be such a good idea. 2 couples living under the same roof. Of course, how could this ever go wrong? We're gonna name them Sam and Brad. Sam and I got really close really quick. We bonded over our childhoods. We went to Sonic together all the time. We were at home together a lot. We bonded. Something about Sam is she was a very good artist. And one day she decides to tell me about this dream catcher that her mother had gifted her when she was like 4 or 5 years old. Now, her mother was terminally ill, so this gift meant a lot to her. However, from the night she received the gift, she started seeing this creepy, shadow, bird-like man that would stand in the corner of her room every night. And remember when I told you she was an artist? She decided to draw it for me because she had started to see it in our house. Like the one that we're both paying rent, the one we're both in my house. Now I'm shaking in my fucking boots at this point. Bitch, I don't want to see no bird-like shadow man in my house. But I try to play it cool. Plead the blood of Jesus. Lord help me. Please, dear God. Now, after she tells me about this thing in her house, tensions and personalities start to change quickly. We just started not getting along. Brad and me, not getting along. Brad and my husband is like the most relaxed person in the world, not getting along. Tensions are rising. So for the most part, we avoid each other. But she starts hearing things in the house when she's home alone. She starts saying that people are knocking on the door, something's knocking on the door, and when she goes to answer, no one's there. So she pulls me aside to tell me about it, and I'm like, hey, you remember that dream catcher you told me about? I don't think it's a dream catcher. I think it's holding your nightmares, and it's literally bringing the shit with you, I think. She just told me, you know, there's no way she could get rid of it. Her mother gave it to her. Okay, I understand, but can we like box it up and send it somewhere else for safekeepings? Because like I'm fucking scared in my own house. So one weekend, my husband and I leave for a little trip, and we come back, right? I walk through the front door. They're sitting in the living room. No big deal. We're just gonna go to our bedroom and unpack. Except when I get to my bedroom door, I see a dream catcher on the door handle. And I ain't fucking touching that thing. So I turn to her and I'm like, Sam, is that the dream catcher that you've been talking about this whole time? She's like, oh yeah, it is. Why is it on my door handle? Can you come get it? Can you remove it? Why is it there? She said, well, last night I got awoken by my boyfriend, Brad, screaming. He woke up and he was screaming because he saw Birdman in the corner. He shook me awake. I woke up, I saw him, I turned the light on, and he was gone. I said, ma'am, that doesn't explain why it's on my door handle. Why is it on my door handle? She said, well, Brad had a great idea. After that happened last night, we thought we might be going a little crazy. He said, I've got an idea. Let's sneak in their room and put it under their bed. And when they get back tomorrow night, let's see if they see it too. Bitch, what? Bitch, what? I said, the fuck you did not put that in my room. She said, well, no, your bedroom door was locked. So I thought maybe if I put it on the doorknob, you wouldn't know. And you could go to sleep and see if you wake up and see Birdman fucking lurking in the corner. I said, Sam, please go get your dream catcher. Jared, we're packing. We're getting the fuck out of here. What the fuck? Huh? I'm literally shaking in my fucking boots right now. We go in our bedroom after she removes the dream catcher. I'm like silent. I'm like, we gotta get the fuck out of here. These people are crazy. They want Birdman to kill us. We have to get the fuck out of here. So that's literally it. We pack our shit up. We literally go stay with my in-laws, and we never look back. So yeah, we packed our stuff up over the course of a weekend. We left that night, mind you. I did not stay another night in that house. We told the landlord what was happening. I said, we got to get out of here. Okay, I cannot stay another night in this Birdman house. I got to go. And we left. We went and stayed with my in-laws from then on out until we found a house by ourselves. And that was the last time we ever had roommates.
So yeah, y'all did the right thing, because as soon as you introduced that dream catcher, I'm like, yeah, nah. Then homegirl like, yeah, I can't do nothing. I can't throw it away because my mom gave it to me. I don't care who gave it to me. If this is why I think I'm having nightmares, I'm so sorry, mama. So sorry, mama, but I will get rid of that dream catcher. And then the audacity of you to put it on my door to see if it happens to me. Now, what if it happens? I see him and then I die. You don't care. Clearly they didn't care. But honestly, I have less patience, especially for these types of situations. As soon as the dream catcher would have came about, and then I noticed that everybody's personality and attitudes didn't change. Baby, this is my home. Your home is supposed to be your paradise. I'm not about to be tiptoeing in the uncomfortable in a place where I lay my head. And actually, I have done that when I was in college. I can give y'all a story time if y'all want to hear it. But I'm saying I'm not tiptoeing, especially not at this big age. So I know that they was younger then. But I would have kicked them out as soon as the energy got weird. Like, yeah. And I know y'all needed the money. Find y'all somebody else. Airbnb a room or something like that. I don't know. So that it's like more of a paper trail about what's going on in the house. That's crazy. Y'all did the right thing. I would have got going that same night too. Good job. Good job. And I love her personality. She is so cute.
I don't care if it's still August. School is officially over. Therefore, it is spooky season. So I'm going to tell you a spooky story. This is true and this happened to me. So you're going to need a little bit of context before I jump right into the story. My grandparents on my mother's side live out in the country in Oklahoma. When I was younger, we would go out there and visit them frequently, at least once a year. This particular time, we're going to visit them. I can't remember exactly how old I was. I want to say I was like 10, somewhere between the ages of like 8 and 11. So we go up there for a small family, like close family reunion type of thing. I should also mention that this house is old. If that wasn't already obvious, this house is old. It's old as my grandparents. It's older than them. So at this reunion, everyone's outside. They're grilling, barbecuing, sitting, chit-chatting, talking, whatever. It was starting to get a little bit chilly, so I was like, I'm gonna go inside and get a jacket and I'll be right back. So I run inside. Mind you, nobody else is inside the house. Everybody's outside getting their barbecue on, okay? I run inside up the stairs to my room to grab a jacket. In this room, there's the closet, and then next to the closet right here is a little door for a crawl space. I grab my jacket, I turn around. The crawl space is open. The door is cracked open. I'm like, oh, okay, let me just go and close that really quick. I go over, I open it a little bit because I'm like, what's in there? Not expecting there to be anything in there. I open it, and there's a staircase. A long staircase going up. So what does 10-year-old me do? I go up the staircase. Something was just speaking to me, telling me that this door was open for a reason and that I'm supposed to go up in here. So I get to the top, there's another door. I open the door into this grand hallway. It's like white and gold marble columns, but it's a long hallway. And there's a bunch of doors going down, and then another door at the very end. Immediately, I'm like, what is this? Where am I? And a little freaked out, obviously. Something was calling me to go to the door at the very end of the hallway. Forget all the other doors, go to the one at the end of the hallway. So I start walking down this very long hallway. And all of these doors are shut, right? And then I feel like something's watching me. I look and I see further down the hallway, one of these doors on the left side, an old woman, a very creepy old woman, is peeking her head out of the door and watching me. And then I would see her pop out of a different door and be looking at me, and then a different door and then be looking at me as I kept progressing down the hallway. Finally, I reached the end of the hallway to the door at the end, and I was so compelled to open it. So I opened it, and I left the door open. When I entered the room, I left the door open, okay? And it's a complete change of environment. The hallway was white and gold, marble columns, like very clean, very, I don't know, elegant. Walk into this room, it's like your basic old dusty attic. Boxes, spider webs, it's dark, creaky wood. And there's a circular window across from me at the other end of the room. The same exact circular window that you can see from the front yard where everyone is outside. So I walk over, I look out the window, and I can see everybody down there, but it's like there's a weird filter over it, where it's in like black and white, and they're all skeletons. Everyone's there, moving around like normal, grilling, laughing, playing, but they're skeletons. And as I'm registering this, processing it, the door behind me slams shut, and I turn around, and the creepy old lady is standing behind one of those piles of boxes, looking at me with the most sinister, it was the most evil I've felt in my life. I ran faster than I've ever ran in my entire life. Out of that room, back down the hall. I did not look back a single time. Back out the original door, back down the staircase, and I shut the crawl space door behind me. I grabbed my jacket off of the bed where I had set it before I went up there, and I put it on, walked downstairs and back outside like nothing happened. The next time that I come over to visit my grandparents, about a year later, I have not told my grandma this story. I've not told her anything. I come over, I go to sleep in this room. I'm already a little bit apprehensive about it because of the previous events. I step into the room and I see that the crawl space is now boarded and nailed shut with blankets over it as well. They boarded that up. And then just recently, a couple years ago, I actually told my grandma about this, and all she does is go, yeah. Goodbye.
I'm sorry, y'all. I just put these lashes on, and fun fact, I'm allergic to lash glue, so they was taking me out the game in that last video, like messing up my whole entire system. But that video actually wasn't as scary as it could have been. Yeah, it wasn't as scary as it could have been. Grandma knew something was going on in her house. Then you got me just roaming around the house, finding stuff myself. And then when I finally get to a point where I feel comfortable enough to talk to you about what I seen, you ain't got nothing to say, Grandma? You ain't got nothing to say, G-Ma? That's crazy.
I held hands with a ghost on Halloween night and didn't even know it until years later. Storytime. The story was sent in by Mark L. from New York. So this all started Halloween night of 1988. I was 8 years old and we were living in the South. I'm not gonna name what state. I was really excited this Halloween because it was the first time I was allowed to go trick-or-treating alone with my older brother without parental supervision. Because our family was so poor, my older brother and I spent the day making me a homemade zombie costume, and when we finished, we left to go trick-or-treating. Everything was fine. We got a lot of candy up until about dark. That was when things began to get really weird. To get to the other side of the street to get more candy, we have to walk down this long dark alley and hop a fence. So as we're walking down the alley, we start hearing this cling 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 sound, and when we turn around, we see a little boy dressed up as a cowboy following us. He looked 5 or 6 years old and he was very pale. He was wearing a cowboy hat, cowboy boots with spurs, and holding a bow and arrow with a bag of arrows on his back. His eyes were milky white like the dead. We thought he had in contacts. My brother even complimented how cool his contacts looked and asked where he got them, but the kid never answered. He was also covered in big bruises. He had a black eye, a bruise on his cheek, finger-like marks around his neck, and big bruises on his arms. But me being just a kid, I was thinking, wow, someone done a great job on his makeup. He really looks like a dead cowboy. So my older brother, being the cool guy that he is, asked the little boy if he wanted to walk with us because we didn't want to leave this little kid all alone on Halloween, but he never answered. He just started following behind us. My brother asked him multiple times, what's your name? How old are you? Who are your parents? What street do you live on? But the child never answered. He just kept walking. At one point, these older kids jump out to scare us like what today's kids call a jump scare, and that's when this little boy grabbed my hand, and his hand was ice cold. I mean, it felt like he had frostbite, but I didn't let go because I knew he was scared. And his hand never warmed up. Even though he had a tight grip, it remained ice cold throughout the night. By now, we've been walking for at least 2.5, 3 hours, and it's about 10 o'clock at night. We knew we had to get home or our parents were going to freak out. So we asked the little boy again, where do you live? We'll take you home, but he doesn't answer. He let go of my hand, looked at me and my brother and said, thank you, and then he walked off into the darkness. My brother took off running behind him, but he wasn't there. It was like he vanished behind the dumpsters. Needless to say, my brother and I were freaked out, so we took off running, and when we got home, we started eating candy and kept talking about how weird the situation was. Recently, a friend of mine started a true crime podcast where they cover cases of children that were abused, neglected, or murdered by their parents. My friend who does the podcast will sometimes pay me to do the research before a video, and I shit you not, while researching a case, I found that little boy's picture in a newspaper. I immediately recognized his picture and found out this little boy was murdered by his mom's new boyfriend in the early 80s, 3 years before we saw him on Halloween. Now, we couldn't find too many details about the child's case, no police report nor autopsy, but we did find 2 newspaper clippings about his murder. The mother originally lived in an apartment right down the road from where we were trick-or-treating. She meets this man and moves him in within a month, and within the second month of him living there, he murders her only son. So the mom goes to work, and about an hour later, she gets a call from her boyfriend saying that her 5-year-old son is not breathing. So she tells him to call 911, but he doesn't. She rushes home, and that's where she finds her 5-year-old son. He had bruises around his neck. He had been in the newspaper, it stated where the injuries were, and they were exact same injuries that the little boy from Halloween night had. So I found his obituary where a grandparent stated he was obsessed with playing cowboys and robbers and was buried with a cowboy hat, cowboy boots, and his bow and arrow. He died at 12:05 a.m. on October 31st. He died within 5 minutes of his favorite holiday. Rest in peace, little cowboy. Also, we found out that the mom's boyfriend only received 8 years in prison for murdering her son. Shocker. That's how it always goes, ain't it? We did a background check on the boyfriend's name, and we found out he was murdered in one of the weirdest ways possible after he was released from prison. Get this. When the mom's boyfriend got out of prison, she took him back and moved him back in with their son that they had had together. That youngest son, he accidentally the boyfriend in the forehead. 6 months after the boyfriend died, the mother was found at the bottom of the staircase in the same apartment complex where the boyfriend had murdered the child years prior. The cops could not exactly figure out what happened, but it looked like she'd been shot in the leg and fell down the staircase and died. So me and my friend gathered up all this information and I sent it to my older brother, and when he saw it, his jaw dropped. When I showed him the black and white picture of the little boy, he said, "That's him. That's the little boy that walked around with us on Halloween night." It's almost Halloween. That means it's time for scary Halloween stories, and I'm so excited.
That was a lot. Like, it's like as soon as you think that you heard the whole story, nah, we got another twist to turn. We about to make sure. Wow. Okay. So this story is a good example for why you don't just let anybody up in your house, and you don't let just anybody meet your kids. I don't have kids, but I know enough to know you don't let just anybody meet your kids. What she said, they had been dating for just a couple months, and then she moved him into the house, and then he killed her son. What? And then that's scary. And then for the kids that's out there, this show you why you shouldn't talk to strangers, because you might mess around and be talking to a ghost. Well, not even talking, walking with a ghost. That's crazy. And I've had situations where, I don't even want to go into detail, but I've had situations where I had such an odd encounter where I'm like, okay, like, was this a situation where I lost my mind for a second, or it was a glitch and I'm the only person that seen this person, or I'm the only person that like experienced the situation, even though I'm around these other people that I think were in that situation with me. You know what I mean? Anyway, I've had situations like that before where I've thought something happened, but I wasn't sure if it happened in a dream or if I was the only person that seen it, so I just don't talk about it, and I'm not gonna talk about it.
Hello everyone, and happy Halloween! If you're going trick-or-treating, you might not want to listen to this story. And if you're still here,
I warned you.
why did I just scare myself? So this happened on Halloween night of 2004. So the guy telling us the story saying how excited he was because he was 14 years old and his parents finally let him go trick-or-treating alone with his friends. He said that they were all excited because they were gonna do the craziest things they could never do years before. He said, of course, they started off by going to visit some girls from school. But then they went and got revenge on this guy who took their football when it landed in his yard and never gave it back. So they egged his house. I think that's fair. After that, they went and scared a whole bunch of little kids. Obviously, it was all in good fun, though. They didn't say that they were, like, trying to make them cry. Like, the kids were excited that they were getting scared, too. He said that eventually it got a little late and they all were talking about maybe going home because they didn't see any kids in the streets anymore. He said that almost like if it was a scary movie, all of a sudden the sky got really dark and they started hearing thunder and they were like, okay, it's time to go home. He said that as they were walking, one of the friends in that group kind of stayed behind and eventually asked them to stop. I guess the reason why he was staying behind was because as they were walking, he was looking behind them at all times. So he stopped the kids and said, do you see that? They all turn around and they're like, see what? And he's like, look, right between the cars. They were all trying to look and they were like, see what? There's nothing there. And he was like, wait, just wait, don't move. You're gonna see it. At this point, they were like, what is going on? So they all start walking back to where that kid was at behind them. And they all were focusing in that spot that he was telling them to focus on. He said out of nowhere, in between the cars, walked a little kid. He said that they can see that he was dressed as a ghost because he had a sheet over him like this. He said that he could tell that the kid was really skinny, but he was very tall, and that he looked like maybe he was in elementary school. He said it didn't seem like he was in their grade just by the shape of his body. So because that kid seemed so small and he was walking alone, one of the kids in that friend group said, maybe we should ask him if he wants us to walk him home. Especially because it seemed like it was about to start raining, there was thunder, they didn't feel comfortable leaving that kid alone in the streets. He said that before any of them could tell his friend, yeah, maybe we should walk him home, or no, let's not walk him home, the friend just screamed at the little boy, hey, do you want to walk with us? He said that once his friend said that, they all looked over at the boy and they could tell that he was stopped in his tracks, that he looked over at them and only nodded yes through the sheet. I'm already scared.
No.
So after that, the kid started walking down the sidewalk, almost walking towards them, but then he went in between two cars and they couldn't see him again. The guy said that when they didn't see him come back out from in between those cars, they then started walking towards where he was, but they started feeling very eerie, like something was not right. They eventually got to where he had hidden in between those cars, but the kid wasn't there anymore. He said that they all then started questioning themselves, like, did we really see the kid, or was it just because it's Halloween and we were a little bit scared? Like, they were all questioning whether the kid had maybe gone there or not. One of their friends was like, well, I mean, maybe we could have been imagining that, but how is it possible for all of us to imagine that kid? So I don't think it was a trick of the mind. He was like, there's no way that we all imagined a little boy in a Halloween costume. He said that at that point, they just decided to go ahead and start walking home because they never saw that kid again. But on the way home, he said that something told him to look back. He said that at a distance, the little kid was behind them. And at this point, he grabbed his friend's shoulder and turned him around to look because he just wanted to make sure he wasn't seeing things. He said that when he did that, the rest of his friend group turned around too because they were like, what are you guys looking at? And they all ran to where they were to look at what they were seeing. He said that when the rest of the friend group turned around to look, they were all like running and almost laughing because they thought it was fun that this weird little kid was following them, and it was just like the perfect ending to their best Halloween day ever. However, that is not how he felt. He said that after that, the kids then started running the opposite way away from that little kid, and that him and a friend named Hector stayed behind. He said that they stayed behind because they were the chubbiest out of the group, and honestly, they would look back and they didn't see the kid anymore. He said that eventually him and Hector stopped running because they were so tired, and that they started laughing because of how scared they were. So now they started walking because they were trying to catch their breath. He said that because of how foggy and rainy it was, they couldn't even see their friends ahead of them anymore, so they didn't think it'd be worth running again and trying to find them. He said that they both decided that they should probably go home, but then they fast realized that that would mean that they would have to separate themselves. He said that him and Hector decided to walk together to the main street, and once they got there, they would go their own separate ways back to their homes. He said that as soon as they started walking, they then started to hear steps behind them from afar, and when they looked, it was that same same little kid dressed as a ghost. He said that at this point they were walking through the middle of the street, but when they saw him on the sidewalk, they decided to go to the sidewalk opposite from where the kid was. He said that he stopped walking and grabbed Hector by the chest so that he can stop too, but it was at that moment that he could feel Hector's heartbeat through his hand and realized that Hector was terrified. He said that when he stopped Hector, both him and Hector looked towards where the little boy was, and that the boy stopped too. And not just that, but the boy then started reaching for the sheet because he was gonna uncover himself so that they can see him. He said that when him and Hector saw the little kid about to pull the sheet over, that is when they got so scared they started running, that they didn't even care that they knew that they were gonna be tired. They just started to run. I just have goosebumps. Why am I scared, bitch? I wouldn't even run. I'd be with them. I'd be the chubbiest out of the group, and I would be stuck with the freaking ghost boy. He said that as he was running, he still looked back, and he could see now that that boy dressed as a ghost was walking towards the sidewalk where they were at, and he was advancing on them. He said that they were so desperate that they were looking around, and there was no person in sight, and that there was no cars passing by for them to at least stop them and ask for help. He said that they would look back, and the boy dressed as a ghost was still walking towards them. He said that his friend Hector told him, "Look, dude, we cannot be scared of this weird ass kid. If he catches up to us and wants to walk with us, let's just walk with him till we get home." And he had no choice but to go along with what his friend Hector said. At this point, they were walking in the middle of the street still, and the ghost boy did catch up to them, but he was a good 3 to 5 feet from them, and all he did was walk at the same pace as them. They said they kind of relaxed a little bit after, like, the kid didn't do anything to them, so they were just walking home. He said that when they got to the main street, Hector got really lucky because there was a bus there, and he took the bus to go home. And at the same time, the kid saying the story said he got super lucky because there was a taxi there, and he asked the taxi if he could take him home. He said that neither of their homes were far away, but they didn't want to take the risk and have that little kid follow them all the way home. He also said that he wanted to take that taxi because, yeah, that kid looks like a tiny, child, but he could very well be an adult that's just like small and skinny. He said that when Hector got on the bus and he got on the taxi, the little boy had stayed like under a street light that wasn't working, so it was the dark. And as they drove away, he looked back and the kid was still there standing, like he wasn't walking, he wasn't moving anywhere. He said that it felt like he was just observing them and how they were getting away. He said that when he got home, he got on his computer and he wanted to message the rest of his friends to see if they made it home safe. His friends did respond telling him that they all got home safe, and at some point they were kind of worried for them, but at the same time they were like, oh, this is gonna be a fun prank for Halloween. Bitch, I would fuck all of them up. So fun, guys. He said that at that point he was laughing because he was like, yeah, that was a good joke. And as he was laughing, he looked out the window of his house, and outside the window of his house was that boy dressed as a ghost. Such a fun prank, guys. He said that at that very moment, he got a notification on his computer that someone was trying to private chat him. And it was Hector. He said that till this day, he will never forget that private message. He said that Hector wrote, "I don't know how, but this kid followed me home and he's standing outside my house." How can this kid be standing outside both of their houses at the same time? He said at that moment he felt like puking, but then he was like, what if Hector's pranking me? Because there's no way this kid is outside of his house when he is outside of mine. He said that he got up and made sure that every door and window in his house was locked, and he even went to his big brother's room and asked if he could sleep in his room with him, which thankfully the brother said yes. He said that after that he never mentioned this little ghost boy ever again, and that was the last time that he ever went out for Halloween. So what do you guys think? Imagine if they had stopped and seen what the boy looked like underneath that sheet. Oh my gosh. I mean, my curiosity wished that they had stopped, but bitch, I wouldn't have stopped either. Obviously, this is a translated story, so if you want to listen to it in Spanish, this is the video up here. Anyways, I hope you guys have fun trick-or-treating. Oh, bitch, imagine something happens to me. No!
Yeah, that one was crazy. First of all, I love her videos. They're always real good. But it's so many things. Like, number one, well, the main thing for me is, I don't know, is this not an everybody thing? Like, it's supposed to be a rule that if you come together, you leave together. Ain't no, oh, we all came as a group of 6, but you know, I'm walking by myself over here, and then us 2 go, like, no, everybody needs to be accounted for. In that kind of a situation, I don't know, I feel like it's a split up and then make sure everybody okay and everybody get home in that moment type of thing, not everybody for themselves kind of thing. I don't know, because if somebody is shooting, then I'm not like sticking around like, oh, we came together. But if I drove everybody in my car, then I am kind of sticking around because you don't have another way. But I don't know, I just feel like they was kind of bold for leaving them. And then I think the fact that they, or the ghost or the kid or whatever, was trying to reveal itself and they never actually seen the face, that would bother me forever. Because in your regular life, you could be in school and the person that was under that sheet that was haunting y'all could be in the classroom with y'all, but you don't know. You'll never know because you don't know what they look like. But at the same time, like she said, I wouldn't have waited. So I mean, I don't blame them. But then I'm also wondering, like, the whole time, was this ghost person obsessed with just the 2 of them in the back, or was it just because they were taking the longest to get away from him? I don't know. But that was interesting, y'all. These scary movies, these scary story times, I can already tell are gonna get to me because I'm already scared. And doing this for the whole week, I'm gonna need to cleanse. I'm gonna need the sage this week, every week. I think that's gonna be my new routine. But thank y'all so much for watching. Like I said, I got a lot of interesting things going on. I'm gonna still keep doing these story times if y'all like them. But it's gonna be a little twist. I ain't gonna tell you, I'm just gonna show up. But yeah, if there's any other specific videos y'all like to see, like I'm planning on doing a fall bucket list, or if y'all want me to do a Halloween bucket list or whatever, things to do the month of Halloween, then let me know and I got y'all. All right, peace.